A holiday concert. Two boys on stage, one holding a violin, the other a guitar, both waiting to be called up for piano. Parents clapped from folding chairs. Afterward, photographs, certificates held up, proud smiles. Nothing unusual about the night at all. It was December 14th, 2019. Alec Todt was recognized for piano and violin, his brother Tyler for piano and guitar. Neither boy, nor their 4-year-old sister Zoe, nor their mother Megan would ever be seen alive outside that family again. Their father would eventually tell police exactly what happened to them. What he told police that day was not the last version of events he'd give. This case has 2 confessions from the same man, and they contradict each other. By the end, you'll have enough to judge which one the evidence actually supports. Subscribe now, because we're about to walk through both. From the outside, the Todts looked like the family other parents pointed to. Megan homeschooled her 2 oldest, cooked from scratch, and was the kind of person friends called Mom, even before she had kids of her own. Anthony coached youth soccer and made people laugh. Parents trusted him with their own children without a second thought. Alec, 13, read constantly and studied piano and violin. Tyler, 11, played piano and guitar and asked questions until he actually understood the answer. Zoe, 4, was the quiet one, already curious in her own way. Nothing about this household looked like it was heading toward anything. Behind that image, something else had been running for years, something Megan herself may never have known about. Anthony's physical therapy business had been billing insurers since 2015 for sessions that never happened. He billed patients who'd moved out of state. He billed for appointments on days the office was closed. 2 child patients alone were billed for more than 300 visits that never occurred. This wasn't a mistake repeated by accident. It was a system built deliberately, and it needed to keep running to survive. By 2017, Anthony had borrowed from more than 20 short-term lenders. In a single month that year, the business paid roughly $99,000 just to service those loans. Nearly all of it kept flowing by the fraudulent billing underneath it. In April 2019, federal investigators opened an inquiry into that billing. By October, they had a warrant for the office's records, and they began comparing what had been claimed against what had actually happened. The gap between the 2 was significant, and it was only a matter of time before Anthony had to answer for it. On November 21st, 2019, agents interviewed Anthony directly. He admitted everything: the false charges, the selected patients, all of it. He said Megan knew nothing. He said he intended to plead guilty. Agents told him to have an attorney contact them. No attorney ever did. What followed wasn't an arrest. It was silence. Paychecks bounced, then stopped arriving. Both offices went dark. The family fell behind on rent for their Florida home. And sometime after that December concert you saw at the very start of this video, Megan, Alec, Tyler, and Zoe were killed inside that house. If you're still with us, drop 16 calls in the comments, because that's how many separate attempts were made to reach this family in the weeks after they went silent, and every single one of them failed. The landlord filed for eviction. A welfare check came and went without anyone entering the house. Anthony's sister was told the family had the flu. Investigators would later count at least 16 separate attempts to reach them: relatives, the children's longtime nanny, the landlord, police in 2 states. All 16 came up empty. Anthony later said he stayed in that house for weeks, at times near the bodies of his own family, and attempted to take his own life multiple times. And yet he also left the house for alcohol, for food, and once, specifically, to search for a necklace that belonged to Zoe. On January 13th, 2020, federal agents arrived, not for the deaths, but for the fraud case. They watched the house before Anthony finally came outside, struggling to walk. When they went in, the smell told them before anything else did. Anthony said Megan was upstairs sleeping. He said the kids might be at a sleepover. Upstairs, investigators found Megan, Alec, and Tyler in the master bedroom. Zoe was found last, concealed among the blankets near the foot of the bed. She had been there the entire time. Anthony told investigators he and Megan had planned this together, tied to a belief about salvation and an approaching apocalypse. He described killing each child in sequence, saying Alec and Tyler had resisted him. But the autopsies told a different story. The boys' stab wounds appeared to have happened after they were already dead, not during any struggle. If that detail holds, the account Anthony gave investigators doesn't match what the bodies actually showed. That contradiction became the single hardest thing for either side to explain away at trial. Months later, Anthony wrote a 27-page letter to his own estranged father, the same man convicted decades earlier of arranging an attack on Anthony's mother. In it, Anthony reversed the story completely, claiming Megan drugged and killed the children herself while he was away, and that he'd simply found her dying and arranged the children's bodies afterward. 2 accounts, and both cannot be true. The version that shifts every drop of blame onto the one person who could never respond didn't surface until well after Anthony understood exactly what he stood to lose. The jury never heard about the fraud as a motive. A judge ruled it out before trial. After 6 hours of deliberation, they convicted Anthony on all 4 counts of first-degree murder. And the forensic detail from Confession 1, those stab wounds occurring after death, is what ultimately made his second story, the one blaming Megan, impossible for jurors to accept as truth either. Both accounts were partly contradicted by the bodies themselves. The judge called him a destroyer of worlds and handed down 4 life sentences. Anthony still maintains his innocence, and his 2024 lawsuit over that leaked letter remains active in federal court today, changing nothing about the convictions, but leaving the door open for more of his own words to surface. That lawsuit is still moving through federal court, and there's a real chance it forces more of Anthony's own words into public record. If you want to know what surfaces when it does, subscribe. We'll cover it the moment there's an update.